that will execute only once.
Okay, understood, sir. I'll just check that and I'll get back, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Who else? Lakshmi, you're on hold. Anybody else? Any issues? Any problems? Something new you tried? I saw Professor Gautam has already done Unit 5. Anyone else did you try out? Or any assignments? Any issues for any issues so far? Because like today and tomorrow will be the last sessions, and then we will be only conducting this doubt sessions or any help that you might need for your projects or any ideas that you want to implement using Unity. Yes, Prakriti.
Hello.
Okay, I think, yeah, go ahead. Someone else is.
Zabeen.
Yeah. Okay. When I made the unit 3, sometimes the character after hitting the obstacle is going down the plane, not going down like falling down, but it's trapped in the plane. I don't know what is happening. Sometimes
It's not. It's not.
like falling is going down to the plane. I made a video in the group.
Okay. Your voice is breaking in between.
Clear now?
Yeah, much better now.
Okay. In this after hitting the rock, it's going down to the plane, not falling down through the plane, but it's like trapped in between the plane. Only sometimes it happens.
Okay. So for that, there is a step mentioned in the PDF. So basically, we have to freeze its movement in all the directions, but the y direction. So basically, so it was happening when I was also demoing. So if you jump and you hit it at some angle or something, then it will tilt on the left and right directions, and then it is on in a lying position, right? So maybe you can try. Let me just share my screen. You can try freezing the rotation and position of the layer. Let me share the sound as well.
If I see
Prototype 3.
like
So maybe if you look at the player and if you go to the rigid body component, and you should freeze the position in all the directions apart from the Y. And rotation though is not required in any direction. So basically it will not, like in any case, it will not move in this direction. Like because the game is only this way. So it should go only up and down, that's it.
but
So let
when
me
it falls
control
down, will
that.
it rotate? When it falls down, will it rotate? If we like freeze the position, freeze the rotation.
Let's see, it should not rotate. Okay, I think some pending updates in my laptop are making it slower. Yeah, so it is jumping.
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Okay, so yeah, so maybe we'll try different iterations to make it fall, and let's see if it is going in some other direction or not.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Yes, and let me just now switch this rotations off at least, and then see if it.
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's falling forward only. Let's try again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, so freezing the position and I think will fix your problem. So this is the same thing. It is getting stuck at this position somewhere, or like it is just falling to the side,
Some
like
angle is
this.
falling down.
Like this, it is falling down, and Like this, it is getting stuck somewhere. This is the case. I don't understand. If once it falls down, that means you are dead. Then you should not be able to control the player, right? So what do you mean by getting stuck? Uh, it is like down below the plane
It's
or what?
not. It's like trapped in like this only.
So you wanted to still make it move or what? Because
No,
that's
no,
the
no.
behavior. Hmm.
It's just like when we see the game, it's like a bug, right? When it's not staying on the plane when falling down, like and the game is end. So
Okay, so you want to be it on. So maybe just check your box collider. So if your box
yeah,
collider is in smaller, right? So currently it is almost overlapping. If it is like say in between the body, then the body will pass through. Only the box collider will hit the surface. So maybe
I
can make
also
it a bit
increase
of.
to
Hmm.
I increase till the hands, even that it is happening.
Can you show it once?
Uh, Open even.
Prakriti, what was your doubt?
Um, actually, I was thinking of a game, and in that there is so you must have noticed, no, in those games where something goes to the left and then it rebounds, come to the right, and again rebounds and goes to the left, and it keeps doing that.
Yeah, ping pong now.
Yeah, ping pong. So for that,
Yeah.
I just wanted to confirm the logic. Is it like if say the x value of that object has reached the end limit which I have defined, I just
Hmm.
simply minus of minus say the speed variable or something.
I don't think this will work in that way. So what you can do is just like for jumping, no.
Mm,
So whenever it hits any of the walls, you
mm.
just apply a force. That's it. What say?
No, I'm not asking about the ball. I'm asking about the platform.
So the platform. So maybe so suppose you're talking about a game where there is a bar and a ball. There are bricks on the top, and the ball has to hit the bricks, right? And you have to balance the ball from the on the platform, right? Moving it left and right.
No. I'm thinking of there is a butterfly, and the butterfly has
Okay.
to pass by obstacles, and the obstacles are in the form
Uh,
of say platforms which are moving up and down. So they are moving obstacles.
so basically, Flappy Bird with moving obstacles, right? So you
Yeah,
can make
yeah,
can make the butterfly go up and down or left and right.
yeah, yeah,
So you want to make the limits for the x and y movement of the obstacles, right?
yeah.
So what you can do is just define those. Maybe it will be in any one of the axes. Say suppose in y-axis, define the
Yeah.
upper limit, define the lower limit,
Lower limb.
and
Yeah.
in between, uh, uh, yeah. So I think you were right. So whatever the speed parameter you're using, just do a negative of that. That's it. So if it is going in the up
Okay.
direction, as soon as it reaches say the upper limit, you turn the direction of the velocity or make it use the minus speed thing. So just write
Okay.
two if statement. If my y position is greater than the upper limit, now your speed or transform you just transform or translate in the opposite direction. Basically, do minus sign of the speed, and if it is in the lower limit, you just give it a positive or like normal speed variable.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I just
Right?
wanted to. Yeah.
Same. You can do that and maybe increase the speed as soon as, let's say, suppose the player is about to cross 10th obstacle. Then just to increase the uh, difficulty, you can increase the speed of the obstacles moving up and down. But it's a good idea. You can actually find something like this on GitHub already.
Okay. Check it
Yeah.
out as
So
well then.
what I want all of you to do is create a document or just in one pager of your game, just like Prakriti has defined. No, just write all of these down. You can find this in the end of the first unit. There is a
Okay.
2 page document where it's what your player will do, how it will gain points, how it will die, what obstacles will do. That's it. A 1 pager description, so that we can work on the project. Next is yes, Lakshmi. Finally,
Sorry,
Hello. Your voice is a bit feeble.
What about now?
Yeah, it's better.
I mean, the issue I'm facing is after I put the code where the obstacle will get destroyed when it goes off,
Yeah.
after that, it just stopped working. Like, I'll show you how it's working right now. Yeah, and then it just stops. Until then, it was moving
Okay.
continuously. But when I put that last code, it
So
just
I think
stopped.
you have. So you have to do that check. Remember we did that whether it is an obstacle or not. Then only you do a game over thing. Just show me your
Yeah.
move left script.
But,
Move left script. Compare tag. You have done that. Okay. So you are in the update function. If the gear player controller game over is false, player C. Is it getting a reference? So your player is called player C, right? Your game object is called player
yes.
C. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting name. Go back to the script again. And left this one, if the transfer expression is less than the left bound and the game object compare tag destroy game object. Okay,
Um,
but why it is stopping? Yeah.
one thing to note is that this move left,
Hmm.
it's for this background. I think I put move left, and for move
Yeah, yeah.
obstacle, I have put it for the obstacle, the barrel.
Just click on right click on move obstacle and do find references in the game scene. Right
Is
click,
it,
go back to Unity and do right click, find references in scene. Yes. So it is attached to your barrel and it is attached to your spawn manager. Okay. Now click on move left, right click and do the same thing. Find reference in the scene. Find reference in the scene. So it is attached to your background. So basically you are using move left only for your background, right?
yes.
So then you go back to the move left script in the editor and just remove the complete line because it is not, the background should not stop, no?
So,
So this line, the second if condition is never will never be true, right?
hmm,
Because it will never be compared to obstacle. Remove that completely. So it will just keep moving your uh, up, this thing left. Now go back to your, okay, and now go back to your that script. Move background or move obstacle. Sorry, move obstacle. If game over is false. So here you have to write that uh, limit thing
oh,
because
oh,
so that was stopping your I don't know. You should not stop your background from moving, but so here you have to write the same thing. If your transform dot position dot x is less than the left side or the left limit, now and you don't need to write and here as well because it is only attached to the obstacle, so it will be only working for obstacle. Transform dot position dot x is less than the left limit. You will define the left limit over there. But then how are you going to stop the background once your game gets over? Maybe you have to use a flag. Yeah, same flag that this will work. You have used the flag, right? If game over is not is equal to false, you do this. If it is true, that will not run. And if transfer position dot x, cool, should work.
okay. I'll do this and I'll get back to the. I'll get back
Yeah,
to you if it works.
yes. So just define the limits in the top and use that in the code.
Okay.
Okay, Pushkar, finally your turn.
Yeah, hi. Uh,
Hi.
I'll just share my screen. Yeah, so this is the app. So like I'm getting kind of like the same error, multiple instances of the same error, pretty much. Like one of them is this null reference. I'm not sure. Is it like
Yeah. So there is some
is a
reference
text
that is not
query?
being set. Just double click on that. It is on components API mono behavior.
Yeah.
So basically the key I think the text, because key is not defined. Now go to your game object in which line? It is in this line, right?
Uh,
In line number 31.
yeah. Yeah.
So double click that and it is being called in every update call. Just
Okay.
go to
So
the game object on which it is attached and see if you have a key
I'm not
defined or not.
I'm not entirely sure like where it is attached, which is what like I wanted to know, because like it is a
Click
the
on the localized text script. Go to your projects folder, which is on the separate tab. Projects folder within the Unity, it is on your separate tab somewhere. Go to Unity editor. This is
editor.
Unity. You are currently the below window is console window. On another
Mm-hmm.
tab, you have project open. Click on project. Left side, go to left.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And go to scripts, or maybe just search what was the name, localized player or whatever was the name of the script. Just search it in the search bar. What was the name of the script? Localize. Just check what the name, complete name.
Localized text.
It is localized text. It has two. Right. Now, right, but
Yeah.
there
So
are two.
one of them would be the meta file.
But
Yeah.
metafile will
This
not
is
have this icon. Yeah. So now just right click and see find references in the scene. Find references in the scene. Text. So basically that key item, it is go back to the script. Key is what? Some text. Public string key. So you have to define something, get localized value. Localization manager dot instance get localized value and you pass the key. So there, I think they're using some API or something. That's in the terms of license file in the root directory of the source tree. So I think this project uses some package which has a key,
okay.
and that string value you have to pass. So maybe click on any of the game object. Does it have a string field? This key field over there defined somewhere. Click on any of it, any of the game object. Click on login probably. Login text alignment. Okay, it is not there. Script. Uh, See if localized text. Yes, it's there. Localized text. Key is login. Okay, click on it on the field. Okay, login. But you have to figure out what the key is and enter the value. Maybe write something,
Okay.
but you don't know where it is coming from on
Yeah.
what
So
game object.
could I maybe like just to run the code, could I maybe bypass
Yeah.
this
Change
thing
in the
and
code.
would it?
No. Don't bypass. Just write any string there. Public
Okay.
string text is equal to, maybe write some ABCD. That's it. Not here. Not here in the code.
Okay.
So the script will use the key value.
Yeah.
But there is already a check, no? If the key is null or empty, but if it is not there, then yeah, just write something.
Uh,
Public key, string key is equal to something. Not here in the top where you have defined the variable.
okay.
Public string
Uh,
key
is here
on
fine?
line number 18. It is already there. Just give it a value. Line number 19 now.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Just give it a value. In quotes, write something. Whatever you like. Inside quotes, write something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now run.
Is
Save it. It will
Yeah, I
not work
did
without
save it.
saving.
I did
Okay.
save it.
Okay.
I suppose it
And
is
this thing should
just
work
some
in
error.
2022 as well.
No, with 2022 it doesn't work. But
So it is saying like continue or abort, that you will be seeing this
yeah,
message.
so
No,
it
if you do,
starts off with the quit option. Object references are not set.
so now it's a separate error, I think. Can you go back to the editor?
Oh yeah.
Object reference to of an object localized line 32. So it's the same line again. But where go to the topmost error, the very first error, and click on this line number 35. API mono behavior, something new. 35. Event notification center session.go get component. Event notification center. You will have to take a look at the package that is being used here,
Okay.
right? Event notification center, and then this is API mono behavior, something else. Maybe you can get in touch with the person who worked on the project and he can help you.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, but I think the first two are this one, the next is the same localized text. So basically you have two errors only.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, as for the second thing, like it's still not like solved yet, right?
So because the key is not correct, no? If you go back to the script,
Okay.
go
Okay.
go
Yeah.
to the script, it
Yeah.
says get localized value. Then go to that function, particular function, localized value. Now go to localization manager script. It has a function called get localized value. Go to the localization manager function. It should be there. Just do control click on this particular text.
Yeah.
Localization
Yeah. I
manager,
did.
or maybe right click, go to
Control.
the definition, click on this.
Yeah. This.
If you have nothing happening, go to the definition. Second option, right click, go to the definition. No definition found, then you have to figure out where that is. Just search
Okay.
location manager in your project files. If it should be a script there somewhere, not in console project. Double click. There has to be a function called get localized value, or what was that? Localization manager
Look.
dot get localized value. So it is getting string and params for replacement. Contains key, so it is looking for a key value pair. I think there are some mapping or dictionary that is defined somewhere. It is mapping
Okay.
the key value and getting you the result. Say if I enter 23, it is getting the name of the person whose roll number is 23, something
Okay.
like
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to check where this replacement dictionary is being formed. It's an object. It's an array of type object. Mm, yeah, or maybe if they have a documentation somewhere, you can check that out.
Sorry.
Or
Yeah. I just disconnected.
so maybe you talk to the person who worked on this project, or do they have a GitHub repo with a proper documentation, or maybe spend some more time on in working in Unity. You can then figure out what's
Sure.
going
Okay.
on. It looks like a fairly complex project, so it will take some time. If this is your first
Yeah.
time in Unity,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
okay.
I mean, if I just want to grab some components from this project, say I don't particularly need the like the entire login setup and stuff. I just like the basic idea that I want to achieve is I want some mini games, like a single scene mini game, wherein
Hmm.
say some things are some particular objects are popping up, and I'm conducting some experiments based on those. Basically, gauging the reaction of the person based on those particular instances of objects popping up.
How are you getting
Uh,
the reaction of users? Some
Uh, so
BCI interface, eye
uh,
tracker.
yeah, so no, not necessarily so. I mean, it could be that there's a basically a simple arrow that is being overlaid on say a face, and the facial expression changes, and the person has to basically react which what was the direction of the arrow. So this stuff happens in game. Like there is EEG signal, but that is not what Unity is engaging with per se.
So making a simple game should not be difficult. If you have followed the course, you can make those object popping and clicking, or maybe some other type of input if you want to do some key press or mouse cursor.
Uh-huh.
You can do it on your own, and that way you will have like complete control what you want to do, how you want to do it, rather than uh, extracting some components from an existing project, because it will have multiple connections to different scripts, and if something is missing, the overall thing will not work.
Yeah, right. I did
So
try
maybe
that. Like
start.
I was just trying to have the basically the components, but like there are still dependencies somewhere in the code. So like
Yeah,
using a
because
portion of it doesn't really work.
it is using multiple packages. So if the
Yeah,
functionality is part of the package, then you cannot extract just that functionality. So better just make a small game like Bengal popping up. You already have that as one of the assignments. Use that.
yeah.
Maybe
Okay,
try, or maybe pop up your own cubes with some arrows and let the user pop it off, and then
sure.
maybe record the reaction. You can use the camera, so you can actually access the webcam of the laptop or a separate webcam from within Unity. And at that particular instance, when the player is clicking something or doing an action, you can take a capture. You can record the user's expression from there, and use a machine learning model to capture whether like he was happy or sad or satisfied or not. So all you can
Sure.
do within Unity itself. Yes.
All right, sure.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, Lakshmi. Is it working for you now or not?
No, now it's saying there's some error when I took it out.
Okay, share the screen. All compiles has to be fixed. Just click on the error. Where is the console window? Please keep the console window somewhere tabbed so that you can see it. What's the error? Just go to
Yeah,
Window, General, Console. General is the fifth option from the top, and Console. Tab it somewhere, maybe in the game window on the right hand side.
keep it.
Uh, yeah, so it says object reference. So in your move obstacle script, you have to add a curly braces. That's the second error. Your first error is that you need to give in the spawn manager, you have not given reference to your obstacles or the array. Object reference not set to the instance of an object in your spawn obstacle script. The very first error in line number 23. See, your obstacle prefab is there. Then what's the error? Go to your spawn manager obstacle script in line number. Just double click on the first error. It will take you to that line. Line number 35. Nothing is there in 35. Instantiate object prefab. Go back to the error once. Spawn obstacle. But you are never calling this method. Okay, you are doing invoke repeating. Okay. Player C, find get component player controller, and it is false. If it is false, you instantiate. Right. And okay. Can you show that error once in the editor? Yeah, double click on that. It says line number 23. No, the first error. Double click. 23. If player controller script dot game over. Player game object dot find. Okay, so now the thing is, in the variables you have defined something called player private controller. So it's a private variable of type player controller. The name is player controller script, but you have never added its reference. So in the line number 18, you have to write player controller script is equal to the rest of the thing. So you are just getting the reference, but where are you storing it? You're not storing it anywhere. In the line number 18, you have to do player controller script is equal to. Just
Player
in front of it, just right in front of it, player controller script is equal to game object dot find player C get component. So you are fetching the reference, and you should store it in the variable. You are not storing, you're just fetching and then just not storing it anywhere.
Okay. So it will be
No,
player
just
control.
before this line, where from the point where the line starts, how you assign a variable, you write the name of the variable is equal to something, right?
Hmm.
So just write the name here and do is equal to, that's it, done.
Okay.
So basically, you have called a person and you are not talking, and you are talking to someone else. But the person you have called is on blank.
Shouldn't this
Just
be
cop.
over here, like in line number 12? This
So this
easy.
is you have defined okay, there is a variable called player controller script which is of type player controller and it's a private variable. But now what that variable holds you are doing in start. So so
Okay.
basically you just have to write player controller script is equal to then the complete line game object dot find player controls player c dot get component player controller. So
So
the
this
bottom
line
line
will.
number, it should be
Okay.
equal. Yes. Now it is getting the component of type player controller from the game object whose name is player C and storing that in the player control script variable. Now you can use player script variable to do whatever you want. So basically, in line number 23, this player controller script dot game over is equal to false. So nothing was available to check what is the script dot game over. So it needs a reference. So now it will work. Just save it and run. It should work. And you need to put curly braces in the other script somewhere. Just right click on the open area somewhere. Do format document. Here only. Just go back to your. It is in move obstacle. Double click there. It will take you to the code in the exact line. So now if you see your. Okay, this is closing. Destroy object is also closing. Put one more error. Now click on the open area somewhere, right click on the open area somewhere on the black area, right click, do, okay, you don't have that option. So basically if you align it, so in my, I get an option called format document if I click on the open area.
Yeah.
So it will fix all the space issues so that I can clearly see. Okay, fine, it should work now. Just save it and now click on play.
Still one more.
Hmm. Assets line object reference not set to the instance of an object. Have you saved the script? It's the same error. Just double click object dot find player C get component player controller. Go to your player. Go to your game object player C in the Unity editor. See if it has a player controller attached to it or not. Scroll down. Player controller. Yes, it is attached. It has a game over. Okay. Go back to the script again. Spawn obstacle dot spawn obstacle. Okay. Okay. Dot game over. Now go back to your player controller script. Player controller script. Script in the editor only. In the code editor only. In your VS Code, go to the script called player controller. Now the variable is okay. Public bool game over. Now go back to the script. Spawn manager obstacle. Player controller script dot game over. Okay, is equal to. Give a space between the is equal to's. Game over, then some space, and save it and run. Object reference not set up to instance an object. Okay, go back to your script. Spawn obstacle, spawn obstacle. Okay, now see what happened. So in the start function, you have defined that we should start repeating this obstacle function at this interval, and when you do it, it is checking for this particular code. But by that, the very first time, it will not get reference. So basically, just copy paste the line number 18 above the invoke repeating function. But that should not be the case, right? Spawn manager. No, no, it is working for me without any issue. Then why not? Repeat rate. Have you saved player controller script? Player controller script. Any spelling mistake? No. Is equal to game object would find player C get component. Yeah. Start update. In this bracket is for the class one. Okay, save it and then run it again. Is equal to false. Yeah. Hmm, changing because it is in start, so it will not be a problem whether you click on play in Unity. Oh yeah, it did not refresh. That's it. So it's working. You tap this console window, click on stop again, click on play again, tap this console window towards the right hand side of any of the game window or anything. Just drag from the console where it is written in console. Click on stop. Yeah, click on play again to stop the exit the play mode. Now grab it from the console part. Okay, you click twice.
Yeah.
So grab it not from here. Grab it from the console where it is written console, and then you move it to the right hand side of the game window. Game window, right hand side of the game window. Your hero is also fine. Wherever it is visible for you. That's it. And now you can play. It should work fine. So basically, did not refresh. That's it. So your code was correct only. Yeah. So game over. Okay. I hope it's working now, right? I think you need to fix your camera a bit. Are you not
Space
able to
bar.
jump?
Yeah. It was working though. Like the space
Click
bar
on
was.
player controller. So you
Oh,
have to
now
click
it.
on the. So once you click on play, you have to click somewhere on the scene window to make the game work. Okay, so the top one is your game window. Okay, fine. So it's working, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Anybody else? Any issues? Any problems? Roshan, your issue got fixed, or are you still on the way?
To tell you the truth, I didn't reach back home.
Okay.
Just joined it.
Okay, so then we'll start with Unit 5, which is the UI thing. Okay. So let me just share my screen, and I have created a new project. So I went to my Unity hub. I created a new project, give it the path of the root folder, which is this. Create a new folder, Unit 5, new folder, and I selected the folder, then named it as Unit Prototype 5. Clicked on create. Then I have this particular project open. Okay, this is a fresh empty project for me, and I have shared this lesson plan and the PDF in the group along with the starter files. Okay, so basically this whole unit is about how can you create UIs, or basically we'll be making a game like if you have played that Fruit Ninja thing, where you have fruits popping up on your screen and you have to slice them through by dragging your finger. Okay, so we will make a similar game, but we will be using mouse click to uh, click on the items, and then we will keep track of the scores, and we will have a UI to like a welcome page. Then we'll have to like start game difficulty level, all sorts of basic UI we will learn in this. Okay, so let's get started. Let me just, okay, it's open now, and this is my new project. So just like every other unit, we will just go through. First of all, we'll add the starter project so that we have something to play around with or to make our project. So I'll go to my assets, import package. This is only for items which are of type .unity package, not for any other folder. So you cannot import any picture, any image, or anything, or any other file format using this method. Anything which is of type .unity package, that only you can import. That's it. Okay, so I'll just go to my root folder, unit 5, prototype 5, but before that I have to extract it. So I'll just go to unit 5, it's in zip format. I have to extract all, extract, okay, done. starter file. This is my project file. Okay. So I'll do it again. Assets, import package, custom package. I'll select that folder, unit 5, starter files in the package, and we should just see everything is selected. Though we do not need everything, but just for our ease, let's select all and import. Then we will see some new folders will be created over here in my assets folder. And I'll just close my previous editor. Now, since it is like primarily a 2D game, so what we'll do is, first of all, we'll have to open the scene called Prototype 5. I'll just open it. This is my scene looks like, okay. And if I click on save, it has a main camera, it has a directional light, there's a background, and I can click F on that. I don't see anything yet, okay, but I see on this side. So this is some, so if you go on this side, it's completely transparent. And on this side, you see the texture and the background thing. So this is used for saving some computation because my game will always be played on this side. So unlike in real life, I can actually, or like rendering can actually avoid some sort of computation or some sort of processing by not rendering anything on this side. But this does not happen in real life. It's simple technique to avoid or to save some computation efforts. So we will not texture it on the other side. That's it. So it will be transparent, right? And it is going to be a 2D game, so we can switch this to 2D so that I see everything is in a isometric view kind of a thing. No depth. So I cannot use my keyboard to go into the depth direction. If I click on it again, now I'm back in 3D. There is depth. Okay. So you can switch these between these widget to switch between 2D and 3D, right? So now it's completely in 2D, and it will only show me the Z direction and the X direction. There is no Y direction, right? So and I can do scroll bar to just zoom in and zoom out. That's it. So we'll switch to 2D, and you can play around with the background. So you can just go to my course library and select what, say, material and textures to change or play around with the background, the kind of background you want. Okay, so there are different backgrounds. So basically, if I go to background and I can select my background from here. So if I select left border, right border, the mesh is currently, I can select capsule, it is still not working, or maybe do a control Z, right? Or you can do a quad sphere. But I want to change the material, right? So border color, and I can change the font material, exo, balloon, default particle, default terrain, right? There are different materials, but let's keep it the one that we had by default. Okay. A right border you can change with the materials or the textures. Now, our game is going to be like, there are some, if you remember, if you've played the Fruit Ninja game, so there are certain objects that we have to hit or cut through while they pop up from below. And there are certain objects that should not be cut through. You will get negative points or you will lose a life. So similarly, we have something called source files. We have something called good, the bad items, like say skull and a bomb, like this. See, this should not be cut or should not be clicked, otherwise you will lose some points. And there are some other items like food items like this, which you can actually cut through, or food cookie. Okay, so they are a bit tilted, so I'll just make it turn 90 degrees, or maybe like minus 90 degrees. It's the other side. Yeah. This is a cookie. You can cut through these. Okay. and there are some balls, yeah, like this. It should pop up. You can cut through these as well, and like this one, but I think it also needs to be rotated by -90. Yeah, okay, so it's an eyeball. And this one, let's turn it by again -90. Yeah, so all these you can cut through. So these could be different objects. If you cut through them, you get more points. If you cut through the skull or the bad ones, you get negative points, or you lose a life, something like that, to make the game more interesting. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to spawn, actually select two items from the bad ones and two items from any other items that we like. Say crate, yeah, and then select it. Maybe we have to turn this one as well by 90. Okay, the crate is a cube, essentially a cube. Okay, create question. Yeah, yeah, this one is fine. I'll just remove this one. Okay, so we have to rename these to like good one and good two and bad one and bad two, then make a separate prefab out of these. Okay, and of course we have to add rigid bodies and colliders to all of these because we want to make it work, uh, or maybe we have to add some force to make them jump from below the screen. Okay, so I'm taking this one as my bad one. I'll just call bad one, and I'll just choose one more bad to be, say, a bomb. Okay, cool. Now I'll just call this one as bad two, and on both of these we have to attach rigid body and box collider. So I'll just attach a body, rigid body, and I should also attach a box collider. So I'll attach a box collider. That's it. And the shape is also fine. If I zoom, it's correctly fitting. Same as for this one. I'll just keep it together like this. I'll just attach what? A box collider. Yeah, this is completely circumventing it. So I'll just add a rigid body component to it. This is fine. Now I'll create a prefabs folder so that I can save it. C# script, or not a script, sorry. Just delete this one. I have to create a folder. Create a folder called prefabs. Okay, and let me just select two of these. So what looks good? So I think I'll go with the I one and the cookie. So basically I'll call it the good one, and the cookie, I'll call it good two. Okay, all the others I will just delete. Okay, good one and good two are here. This is the bad one, right? Okay, and I'll have to again add the same thing. So I'll just selecting them at once, and I'm adding box collider. Okay, collider is also fine. Then what I'll do is I'll just drag and drop these uh, into my prefabs folder. But before that, I need to create another folder called script. Oh no, no, not the script. So I'll just shift delete this, and I'll create another folder called scripts. Create folders, scripts, and I'll create a new script called target, and I'll attach this script to all these objects. I'll just attach the script without even writing anything. Then I can just save all of these into my prefabs folder, right? So I can just drag and drop into my prefabs folder, original prefabs. Now my prefab have all of this. I can now just delete from my scene because I want to spawn them randomly uh, from bottom of my screen. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll just open this particular script so that we can start working on the behavior that we want. So I'll go to my scripts, use target, and because they all have rigid bodies, I want to actually apply some force. So I'll do okay, caps lock is on. I'll do a private rigid. I want a variable which is of type rigid body. Let's call it target RB, or maybe like underscore RB, so that now I'll get the reference just like previous time. So I'll first of all like what variable, and this should hold the reference to what game object. No, sorry, I can directly use get component because they are already attached to my all the targets or all the good and the bad objects that are going to be popped up. So get component, I can get the rigid body component, and that's it, right? And while update, what we can do is uh, rather than doing it in update, first we will try in the start function as only. So what I want to do is in the upward direction, I want to apply some force. Okay, some force, and it has to be an impulse kind of a force, right? Just like hitting a ball with a bat. So it's an impulse force, not a continuous force, right? So just like I've mentioned before, if we are doing a arm wrestling, then the force applied is a constant force, right? If we are lifting a weight and if we are carrying an object from one place to another, we are applying constant force. But suppose we are slapping someone and we are hitting the ball with a bat or a racket, all those sort of forces are impulse forces. So there is a huge amount of force applied in a very small interval of time, right? So what I'll do is we have already seen it before. I'll just choose the rigid body dot add force. Then it takes what in what direction I want the force and by what amount. So I'll just use vector 3 dot up, vector 3 dot up in the upward direction, and I want to say apply some random force. So I'll do a random dot range, and between say 10 to 15, 10 comma 15, apply this force. And I want to also give the force mode to be impulse. That's it, right? Now this will just make the object go up, right? Let's see how this works. Okay. So now if I click on play, what should happen? So basically nothing will happen because nothing is there on my scene. But what can I do is I can just quickly drag and drop these items, and I can see they are going up and down. So as soon as I click here and drag and here, they all become active. And once they are active, they should have this force kind of a behavior. Like I can do like this. Okay, so they are going up, but there is no fun, right? Because they are coming up straight only. But when we throw a ball, there is a force and a torque also applied to it, right? So what we can do is we can also apply a torque. How can we apply a torque? Just like that, we just grab the rigid body and add torque. Add torque. Torque needs an axis. So the axis is going to be what? I want to rotate it in 3D. So what I'll do is I'll just apply three random functions, say three random values. So for X, this is a torque random dot range. I'll give say a value between let's say -5 to 5, -5 to 5. I'll just copy this. This is for the X value. Maybe just let me show you. Control Z, Control C. If I go here, it takes three torque, and torque is a three element vector. Okay, so what's the torque in the X direction? What's the torque in the Y direction? What's the torque in the Z direction? Okay, so basically I'll just Control V thrice, uh, and I'll just apply what the force mode, right? Because so torque. So right. If you drive cycle, bike, or whatever, applying brakes is a continuous torque, right? Because you are pressing your brakes against the rotating tire, so you are applying a torque in the opposite direction of the vehicle movement, and it's a constant force. And if you are for a impulse example, for an impulse torque, say bowling, I don't think yeah, so when you are bowling or doing a spin, so you are just, for an instance, you are just turning it uh, from one side, and it's an impulse torque kind of a thing. Or if you play football, if you are doing taking this banana kick, or say if you're taking a corner, so the kind of force or the impact that when you hit the ball from your leg, it is at an angle. So at an instance, you are turning the ball and also applying the force, right? So the here also the force mode is going to be impulse, and that's it. Okay, and what if I want to spawn it at a specific position? So let's do transform dot position is equal to new vector 3, and let's give it a position. Say my x and y is between what? Let me just drag and drop an item over here. The x is 0. This x is say -3. I am just looking at here. What is my range? This is say -4. This thing, so I can spawn anywhere between -4 and +4. So I can do x should be random dot range, and it has to be between -4 comma 4, and because I want them to appear from anywhere, and that's the fun part of the game. Okay, so it can appear from any part of the -4 and 4, and what else is needed? This is the x, and y should be what I want. Y should be what should be my y? Y should be below the screen. So if I go down here, what's my y? Y is minus, let's keep it -2, so that my player does not know where the object is going to come from. Okay, so I'll do y is equal to -2. Now what should be the value of z? Nothing, because if we pass nothing, it will understand z is 0, because there is no point of doing z over here. It's a 2D game, right? So now what should happen if I click on play, and if I drag and drop these items over here in play mode, they should keep spawning from random x and y directions, and there has to be some sort of torque applied. Do you see torque applied? I don't think so. There is no torque applied. Oh, I don't see them rotating at all. Okay, I've not saved the script. Okay, I've not saved the script. Yeah. Now I have to play it again. So we should see our objects rotating as well. So if I drag and drop items now. Yeah, yeah, awesome. Now this is fun. Okay, 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 okay. Nice. This is working fine. Okay, so now we did this just for testing whether it is working fine or not. Now what we can do is we can make it a function and just keep calling it repeatedly, just like we have done in the previous times. Okay, so but of course we have done a lot of manual work like providing a random range and all these things. So before that, what we will do is we should define different variables. Suppose we have not defined speed as of now. Okay, so I want to and the force, I want to apply it randomly, right? A random force should be applied so that each object is coming from a different position and a different velocity and a different rotation is there to make it more fun. So what we will do is we will just define multiple variables, and being a programmer, I'll just copy paste everything because I would have written the same things, right? This is there. Okay. So I'm defining min speed, max torque, x range, and the y spawn position, right? This is for -6 as of now. Control Z, right? And from there, I'm applying a force, right? And it is currently a random force. So what I'll do is I'll define a new function called say. This should return me a force, and the force needs what? A vector. So this thing I want to convert into a particular function which keeps giving me some random function every time I call it. So I'll just define a new function called vector 3. So this is the return type. I wanted to return a vector 3, and it is called a random force, right? It will take nothing as inputs, and it should do what? Basically, I'll just copy paste this thing, and I'll just say return this, and instead of this range, what I'll use is I'll use min speed say 12, not control X, it should be control C. So basically instead of this I can use a variable. I should use a variable name, so sorry, lot of typos. So minimum speed, and for the upper limit I'll use maximum speed. So basically, I'm holding the upper limit, lower limit in two variables and using those. Say max speed, and this is fine, right? And instead of now, I can just call it random force. So basically, at my rigid body, apply a force which is a random force. I can just call it random force, and it's a method, so it will have this curly braces, not curly, the normal parenthesis. Okay, and similarly, I need to create a function for uh, what do you call it? Random torque, and random torque is going to be random torque is xyz in all this direction, and it is type of impulse. Okay, so basically we are doing this random x direction, random torque in y direction, random torque in z direction, and the force mode. So instead of this, I can just create a float value which is giving me float random torque, torque. Okay, and what you can do is just return what return random dot range. Basically what we were doing there, we will now do it in a function. Like it's a better way of writing code, and I'll do it. We already defined some variables called max torque and a we have a max torque, so we'll just use that only. So we'll use minus of max torque, like then the negative direction. So basically for torque it will mean in which direction you want to rotate that. So minus x2, say max torque, and that's it. So now I will just use this function name, or rather this whole thing, instead of this random range, because we have already defined it. So control V, control V, control V. That's it. And we also want to randomize the position of a random spawn position like we did it in the previous functions. So what we will do is we will create a new function vector 3, and it is going to be a random spawn position, random spawn position. It will not take any arguments, and basically it will just return what? New vector 3, same thing what we did up. So we'll do random dot range, not random range, and it is going to be minus x range. We already defined it. See, we have defined a variable called x range. So my x will be from -4 to +4. So I'll use x range comma y minus, sorry, plus x range. That's it. And my y would be what? Y spawn position. So I'll do y spawn position, close the bracket, add the semicolon, and that's it. So now I will use this instead of my spawn position. So there should be absolutely no change in the behavior, but now our code is much more organized. Okay, just by tweaking this variable, we can actually change different the behavior of my objects. Okay, so let me see if everything works fine or not. Now again, so nothing will happen on its own. I need to drag and drop items over here to make it work. Yeah. Okay. 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 It's working fine. Right. Now everything is working fine. What we can do is we can now create a because currently I have to drag and drop this manually. So we want to create a script. So with this behavior, what we have achieved is this prefab is itself has all the functions. So basically, whenever I drag and drop this one here, it will spawn. Okay, it will just move up and the forces will be applied, the torques will be applied. Now I need a separate script which will manage the spawning of these items and keep a track of the scores, or how many points the uh, player is going to gain at each click, or how many points the player is going to lose when the game gets completed, when the speeds, when I should vary the speed. Suppose my player has crossed the mark of say 50 points. Now I want to increase the spawning speed. So basically I want to play around with these variables to increase the difficulty. Then how to do that? So for that, I'll just create a new empty game object, which we are going to call game manager. It's a pretty standard way of creating managers or like controllers in a game in Unity. So I'll call it game manager, which does not have anything else apart from its transform. We can just reset that. And what I want to do is I can just add a script to it. So I'll just go to my assets folder, then scripts folder. I'll create a new script called game manager. Okay, and I'll just open that. So what do we want to do it is that we just want to create a list of game objects. Okay, so I'll just create a, just like previous times, like spawn random animals. Similarly, we'll create a list of objects, public list, and this list is going to be of type game objects, game object, and we'll call it what, my targets, because these are the targets that the player should hit. Okay. Now what we want to do is, when I, let me just first save it, and I can go to my game manager. I can attach the game manager script over here. I'll just add, say what, four objects, because I have four types of prefabs. So I'll do bad one, bad two, good two, good one, any random order, because we are going to pick it randomly. Okay. So now we want to create a function which will select a random object from this list of targets and spawn it. Okay. So to do that, either we can do it using that function that we have been done in the previous two units, that invoke repeating function in the start method, or we can take a look at a new way of spawning or performing any action in the game, which is called coroutines. So coroutines is something like the name suggests. It's a parallel to a routine, right? Say suppose I wake up every morning at 5 a.m. I do yoga, I go to play football, then I start with my regular work. Now I want to say, suppose add meditation. So it could be my core routine. So while I wake up, I'm doing performing yoga, and while I am playing something, I can add one more activity. So while I'm driving to my football pitch, I can do meditation. Of course, practically it's not possible, but something I'm performing parallelly with my ongoing activity, without my current activity getting in way of the other. So basically, instead of doing something serially, if you want to do it parallelly, you can do it through coroutines. So it will not obstruct your current flow of the game. Okay. So uh, the way to define coroutine is that there is something called I enumerator. Basically, it is something you can iterate over. So I'll just call it spawn target. Okay, and I can define it in this way. Uh, 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 right. Uh, it's just a different way of doing things. So I also want to wait for certain time. So I can do it before I spawn the next obstacle, right? Otherwise, the next object, next target. Otherwise, player will get confused and overwhelmed with a lot of targets on the screen. So I can just define a private float spawn rate, rate not date, spawn rate, which should be equal to say 1 second for now. And what can I do is I can keep spawning. I hope you must have seen this while loop somewhere. While loop does the same work as the name suggests, while something do keep doing something. Okay. So while it's not 6 a.m., you keep sleeping. Okay. Or maybe while the destination is not reached, you keep driving. Same thing. Or basically, while something is true, you keep doing something else. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just do yield return new wait for seconds. So basically it's just saying just wait for some time, new wait for seconds, and in the seconds I'll pass the spawn rate. So this line just means just wait for 1 second, then continue working. So I'll create a new variable called index. It's a local variable index. Basically I want to randomly choose between the list of my game objects which one to spawn. Okay, so I'll just choose random. We have done this before, random dot range, and I'll choose from 0 to the length of my. So basically, I'll use target is the list dot count. What is the count? Okay. That's it. And then I want to instantiate. So just instantiate targets, targets, and I'll just pass the index. Okay, it is essentially doing the same thing. Just basically this whole thing means wait for 1 second, then get a random number, random item from my list and spawn that item. So I'm just getting the index. So from 0, 1, 2, 3, I just have four items. Four items, 0, 1, element 0, 1, 2, 3. So out of these four, choose any one number, say 1, 2, or 0 or whatever, then instantiate that item. That's it. Okay. And I want to start this coroutine during the start function. Start coroutine. I'll call the name of my coroutine, say spawn target, and it's a method. So like this. So now basically, when the game starts, it will call this function, and this function will keep on spawning my game objects at an interval of 1 second. Okay, and I don't need this update function as of now. I'll just remove this. Let's see how this works. If I click on play, this game will become active and it will call the spawn targets coroutine. That coroutine will keep on spawning any one of these items at each second. Let's see if this works or not. And we should see that here. Yeah, see, it spawned. At each second it is spawning. Bad one, bad two, good. Okay.
Type the I enumerate the type.
Yeah, so for defining coroutines are always of type enumerator. That's something like by design of within Unity.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what it means, like on a whether high level, is that it is something you can enumerate over. So for what it will tell to Unity, because it's a mono behavior. Mono behavior means there is a single thread. Everything should happen sequentially. This thing is that which allows it to, okay, you run this, then keep performing the next activity. Do not wait for all of this to finish. Okay. So if you so you can see that the things will keep on popping up without even affecting any other flow of the game. So it is not essentially useful, or like it is not necessary for this particular behavior. But just to understand this particular concept of coroutines, we are using this. So suppose you are making, say, API calls to somewhere in your game. Suppose you are loading some images, or you are getting the information about the scene, say for a multiplayer game situation, which might cause your game to stop unless you get a reply from there, right? Or what if you are performing some sort of calculation and you don't want your overall experience to stop until the calculation finishes? So you should put all of these pieces of code in a coroutine. So coroutine is you keep going with the flow and do it parallelly. So that your experience is not stuck. Otherwise, if you spawn one, then unless it is finished, the game will stop. You will not be able to click. Your score will not upgrade, and everything will be just freeze.
Like the used like to
Threads.
two functions together.
Yeah. You can do multiple functions together. So any activity or any function, like if you're building a bit more complex game, or any other application which requires multiple things to be done at the same time, right? Without so all these will not be part of your experience, but they are required to run the experience. Say you are unloading a model, you are spawning a model, you are fetching something from the URL, you are saving some of your game data to a URL, some web pages you have to surf and all. So all of these activities which you are not essentially the running part of your game should be kept in your core routine, so that your experience is not stopped or is not hanged. Okay.
Oh.
So this is working. Now what we want to do is we want to actually destroy these items when I click. Okay. So previously we have taken input only from the keyboard. Now we want to take the input from my mouse click. Okay. So in my target.cs script only, if I click, then basically it should destroy itself. Okay. So I'll just go to scripts, target, and what I want to do is I can just use a predefined function which is called on mouse down. On mouse down, and let's make it private and void because it is not returning anything. And private so that it is isolating this mouse down from any other mouse down, right? Suppose in my screen I have some other options. So I click on this game object, then it also has a mouse down, and the clicking here also has a mouse down. So isolating these two mouse downs from each other, we are making it private. Okay. So basically, it's C sharp, so it requires all of these kind of descriptors. If you're working with Python, or if you have worked with Python before, these type of definitions are not required. You can directly use it wherever you like. So no hard definitions before the usage of variable are required there. No need of access modifier, no need of the type of the variable. It will figure out while it is running or compiling. But in C sharp, it is required. Okay. So what I want to do is basically, if I click mouse down and it is happening on my target game object, then I want to destroy this particular game object. Destroy the small g game object. And that's it. Okay, so this thing is fine. We can test it out. If I click on any of the game object, it should destroy itself. That's it. Okay, if I click on play, this is my game window, and anything comes up and I click on it, it gets destroyed. Okay, yeah, it is getting destroyed, 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 destroyed. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, right. It is getting destroyed. And also we want to destroy my game object if it falls below my screen, right? So suppose I miss any of the game object, uh, if I miss clicking on any of the game object or any of the target, it should get destroyed. So if I click on sensor, so yeah, so sensor is more of a line or just a boundary which has a box collider, right? So anything which crosses this boundary, so it is already a, you can say, a game object in the scene, in the prototype scene that we get with the starter files. Yeah, or you can define a y limit or yourself. Both works the same. Okay. So what I can do is, and it is a trigger, right? So basically, if you see, this game object is more of a plane only. So it is, the plane is going through the screen. So we see just a line. So if you project a plane on a, or like in, so if you are looking at the plane perpendicularly, right? So we just see a line, and it has a box collider, and it is also the trigger is also set to on, right? So I can use the trigger enter method to actually destroy the game objects whatever is crossing this, right? So if I just click on play, all the game objects will keep falling. We'll see them falling and spawning somewhere randomly, right? So they are spawning somewhere here, and they are falling, and then they are populating in the list unless I click them and destroy them, right? But just like the other two games, we have to destroy them once they go beyond my site. Okay. So what I can do is either you can put a constraint in the X, Y, Z kind of a thing, or you can just use this particular method because it's already a trigger. So what I can do is I can do private void void on trigger enter, trigger enter. Okay. Yeah. Right. On trigger enter, and I can just destroy the game object, and it will need the collider other, right? So basically, what it means that if this sensor, this box collider is entered or collides with any other collider, which for our game are the target objects only. So if any collider crosses or hits this collider, it will trigger something. It will trigger basically this particular on trigger enter method. And on this, I am destroying the game object. This game object means the game object on which this script is attached. And this script is attached to all the targets only. So now if I run this script, let me see if I have saved it or not. Update is not required. See, they're getting destroyed as soon as. So I changed the script, that's why it's loading again. But essentially, see, all the objects are getting destroyed once they. Let me run it again. Okay, so if when it goes down, they're getting destroyed. And I think we need to increase the force a bit. See, they are mostly just. Okay, yeah, this is fine, but for some of the item, it is just coming up the surface, or we can leave it as it is so that it's more challenging. The player has to make that choice. Okay, if I just switch to 2D, you see, this is a plane with a box rider, that's it. So if anything is hitting this, it is going to, right? So this thing is working fine. The only thing remaining is that we have to add some UIs, right? To start the game, I should keep a track of my scores. And if I miss any of the game objects, my game should get over. Then I should get a screen whether I want to restart the game or exit the game. Okay. So this we will see tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be the last class, hopefully, like the official class. But we can keep separate sessions for say any doubt clarification or anything which is making you stuck, or you're getting any problems, or maybe mainly for your project. Okay, so we can keep sessions for that. Okay, so let's call it a day, and we'll see you tomorrow again. Let me just stop sharing. Any doubts till now? Okay, then I'll see you guys tomorrow. You keep on working. If you are done with the previous assignments, the previous 3 units, you can start working on the fifth unit. It is pretty simple. I don't think we have done anything new apart from that core routine thing. It is just a simple thing. Yeah, Prakriti, please go ahead.
Sorry, I had just one doubt. So
Hmm.
multiple times we are working with say vector 3, but we are only giving two values for vector 3, not three values. So how is the computer interpreting it?
How the?
Unity interpreting it, because vector 3 is three vectors x, y, z, and we are only entering two. For
Yeah.
example,
So
uh,
if you don't give the third value, it means it's zero. So like Unity is smart enough to understand that. So maybe if I just go here, yeah, I'll
so
just
how is
let me
it
share my
understood?
screen. I'm sharing the screen. So there is something called what do you call it? Okay, my screen is shared, and if I go to say my target script, I am using here vector 3. I am providing only two values, just x and y, right? If I go here, it is see there is a different implementation which takes only two values, and there is a separate interpretation which takes three values. So if you pass three values, Unity will understand, okay, this is x, y, and z. If you pass two values, it will understand, okay, this one is x, this one is y, and z is zero. So I think it is called overriding, or what do you call it? When you can use the same method with multiple implementations. So basically, vector 3, if you define it with two values, it will take x and y, z is zero. It will not be like you, this is your y, this is your z, and x is zero. I don't think you have that.
Okay,
Okay, so it will only
okay,
take this. So it's a predefined signature, and there are multiple signatures for the ease of use of the user, right? So this is so when I did this control click on this, I get the internal definition of vector 3, which is I think more than 1,000 lines of code, right? So if I go up, this is the complete class. Say it's the namespace. It's a part of Unity Engine namespace, which we include in all of our scripts. Unity Engine. If I remove this, then all of this will become a problem. See, this function, this will not work. Vector 3, if the script will not be able to understand what this is. So we are using this bigger library which has all the definition for rigid body and what's mono behavior, right? What is vector 3, what is a transform, what is random. All these are part of this bigger library called uh, y- namespace called Unity Engine, and it has the vector 3. This whole, I would say, 1,000 lines are only about vector 3. Okay, so we are defining this, so it will have a component of flow type which is x, which is y, and a z thing. Then it will have, say, read only zero vector, up vector, down vector. See, so you were asking, right, what is vector 3 dot up? So up means this vector, which is basically nothing but a unit vector in the y direction. This is a down vector is nothing but a unit vector in the negative y direction. So this is all just for our ease of use, so that the code looks more readable, right? And there are a lot of other implementations as well. So if you want to get normalized, it will normalize the vector values between 0 and 1, right? Suppose you want to get the magnitude of a vector, it is doing the same thing, Pythagoras theorem. See, the square root of x into x plus y into y plus z into z. Just we could have done that, but just to give it as a property. So if you do vector 3 dot magnitude, you will get this value as your return, right? And you will use this for your applications. Say, suppose you are making a game where you want your NPCs, non-playing characters, to follow or just approach my player so that you can shoot him or the player can shoot the enemies. So for that, you will use the magnitude. So if my magnitude is more than certain limit, I will make them move with greater speed. If they're closer to my player, I will make them move with slower speed, right? So for that, I'll use this function magnitude. Okay, so there are a lot of,
Okay.
say, vector 0. So basically, lot of things are whole things are defined. So it has a definition for vector 3 which takes two argument. So it's predefined.
Yeah. Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions and doubts, or we meet again tomorrow? Okay then, Professor Gautam. See you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Bye bye,
see you,
everyone.
Vinay. Bye, bye, bye.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.